Sangmala, Tsamri Dajde le Shuguyu, Shangzhou Simni Gulungi Salda Betonne, Beja de Nyamdo Songronang.
We would like to welcome everyone to the session today. Now, giving rise to the precious bodhicitta, continue our practice.
Guru Pema Bawo Gandru Zodan Jeba Dam Kugarda Sonda Ge Ngaje Loy Tuje Gongba Rekba Ran Sharje Ngo Tala Dede Tadilje Tadanje Silchembe Dunje Namgara Jembara Injur Jelamanga Dezo Namji Medalando Jejenjezi Dedada Gamsum Sem Jena Sem Loma Denjengando Nam Tesenendru Benawaraja Mandro Jur Bezem Jena Purare Do Benal Jorange Shenka Jene Zojem Benjir Palama je 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 jo ne le nga ye da nyo me ne ba den de sang go be de la ba le ja wa de je da la ju Nere de nyam ge shen de ro tara shen de nye ro ba yi che la ma ga de zo nam je me da ge go zum jin ye lo me da ge go zum jin ye lo Medage go zum jinji lo la so ani tenne long go to de ni nyam do sal ro na shu bi la so tini de chala soldep che da chilap shyo de yin bare ani soldep ga so che zo do Guru Bachala, Mosa Ulamba Imbache, and De la Sem Deba the Meba Sechibi to Solada, and Soldem Yakazo, and Ngadanda, Ngöndro Dangi, and a Changju Lam Drubi, and De la Jubar Chabala, Ngöndro Yandaba, and a Tanto Bada, Ngöndro Ji, and Yamlen to Jula Cheto Bada, and Yamda Loba to Jula Chetoba, and then a Solada Bugure, and Lame Jang, and Tation to In Trebe, now a dress on ten, and Lama or the Shune Rang in Tim, near Rangi, Yelunga Yezum, the Lamiko Song to some airmen and Jurson, some go over or the any Beja de Nyamdo, and then they sold them now on Shugi.
Now, having exhaled the stale breath 3 times, here is the time for supplication and requesting for the blessings. Here, when we do the supplication, we can visualize our root guru, inseparable from Guru Rinpoche or Guru Rinpoche themselves, and whichever deity you choose. But we have to remember that in essence of body, speech, and mind, and other qualities, they are the same. When we are supplicating the Guru, we are also asking for the blessings so that the qualities of body, speech, and mind of the Guru becomes one with us, so that their qualities also come to fruition in our mind stream, in our body, speech, and mind, and perhaps the enlightened activities as well. So when we perform the supplication, we fervently, with deep faith, trust, and devotion, we supplicate to the Guru with also bodhicitta in mind. We are performing the Ngöndro, we are going to do the preliminary practices for the sake of all sentient beings to achieve enlightenment, to be awakened. So, with this thought in mind, let's visualize our root guru, inseparable with Guru Rinpoche or any other deities with the same essence, and do the supplication all together.
Balden Zawe Lam Rimbo Je Dagi Juro Beme Den Lash Kadin Jembe Ngone Jezon Kozon Doje Ngodrom Zaldo Zo Dezum Sanje Dam Jeje Ngo Lama Rimbo Jeje Dagi Gyu Minje Jolwara Jinje Labdozu Samlam Je Doba Je Bara Je Gyula Je Wara Jinje Labdozu Sede Nye La Wazal Zoba Jem Lamjo Dar Je Bara Jinje Labdozu Dezum Sanje Dam Jeje Ngo Lama Rimbo Jeje Dagi Gyu Minje Jolwara Jinje Labdozu Samlam Je Doba Je Bara Je Gyula Je Wara Jinje Labdozu Sede Nye La Waza Zoba Jembe Lamjo Darje Jinje Labdozu Tuzum Sanje Dam Jeje Ngo Lama Rimbo Jeje Dagi Gyu Minje Jolwara Jinje Labdozu Sablam Je Doba Je Bara Je Gyula Je Wara Jinje Labdozu Sede Nye La Wazal Zoba Jembe Lam Tar Je Bara Jinje Labdozu Solwa Devzo Lama Rimbo Je Dongbe Bed Jinjin Jijin Je Galme Dala Reza Gyule Tuye Yermen Je Bara Jinje Lo Kema Dage Gyujen Gane Jan Dal Jurun Din Shindo Nye Baranga Laso Ini Sangme ane sobo lulu dang changpo che, ane nga je kecha she samcho che, ye je tenpa da she shin tse che bis, ane senne ane shoro na shugi.
Now, I would like you all to relax your body and bring in mind what I said earlier, give rise to bodhicitta and have the correct motivation. And with that, continue to listen to the teachings.
Ane dende chenne ta dana nga zo, ane samlo tanya sana mendo, nyamlen che je, en cho de ngondro ngoshi che je rinpa sum yubi nane, ngondro rinpa shaki yore. ngondro de la tumong chi yi ngondro, tumin nange ngondro dende lebgu yubi nane, dana nga zo tumong chi yi ngondro che. Da de la tal jor nye kawa, tseme taba, le junre kuru nye mi je, ane loto namba she yubi nane, dana nga zo tal jor nye kawa de, ane samlo tang tang tong shenpa indu, ane di nane nga shik samlo tang sawa re, ane nga me chwe dene da kale nga zo, yang samlo je dangi.
Now, having completed the preliminaries, among the preliminaries, now we're at the contemplation of the four thoughts. When we perform the preliminary practices, they are generally divided into outer, inner preliminaries, or outer, ordinary, inner, extraordinary preliminaries, and so forth. And as the common preliminary, here we give rise to intense renunciation, faith, great compassion, and we contemplate on one of the four thoughts, which is the difficulty of obtaining the freedoms and advantages. Having done that, then we move to the causes and cause and effect, death and impermanence, and the default of samsara. So, continuing the teachings that we received in previous sessions, now we continue the difficulty of obtaining freedoms and advantages.
Tene, ta nga zo dalwa ke joro chu denzo samlo tang sa yinba. Ini da taljun kenji megumba ke dan reche lue megumba ke denzo nane da taljun kenji megumba ke de samlo tang sa che. Ini reche lue megumba ke nane nyi nga zo tunda nga ma samlo tang sa ware. Da di choy dene kale ini yang samlo tang ya da ye. Ini kome che gi yin. Tena na da tangpo nga zo kare re lamna. Da tangpo se du zana sumba rawa. Sumba de ane korwa la kyowa me baam korwe dungal dang korwe ne dang de zo tongwa ina yang kyowa me je ba se gu yure. Da de nga zo dene yungu dowa mi nang la ane lu den de lang ne ma shi bar do ane ke do da mina mangpo shio je nyong yung re. Ane tena na ane kange rab da rinpa mangpo je mi ge tong yung re. Na we go yung re. Sozo yang nyong yung re. Tene ju korwe kyuwe rangshin da kye wadan, ga wadan, na wadan, che wachi dunga mangpo je tong yung na ya negab tela, ane kange rao ju sor. Negab tong shimbe de kabla, ane te zaz de la, ane imo ra chi ke, yang kale tenpa che dogo yore. Chema ta de ma lao dogo yore. Tende chune yang nge jung yang da ba che da, tarbe lamna simi la, ane pendo ba che ra yung marwa. Ane tende sa ma se, tazong mangpo je henji dunga da, kange da, korwe ji dini, kasa kore, jikden je ne dan, korwe ne dan den so ji. Ane kido mangpo tong yung de, de la yang, shenpa loya dan, de la kange, chaya dan, ta di, ane nyingpo me pa dende jo tong tuku yo ma re. Ta soso di lamka la ndo do, ndo mi do ta kuku yo re. Di tonda de soso kido de ka la ma de sepe ke che ke ma re. Korwe kido de la nga so tatab yo ma re. Yo re, ta di la nyingpo me pa jo tong kuku yo re. Ta di nyingpo me na, ane kare che go re, ane tarpan ro kuku ro wa. Ane korwa la dine, kyowa kewa ji kuku yo re de. Ane kyorwa korwe tungal je rangshin tona kyowa kege do, kege me do. Soso lo do, samlo tang. Kyoge me pa ino wa ta nga, chue namda jin rup tu mindu tarung nge chung yabu ju gyula che mindu nge kyo che wala bezun che gu do sam korwe rangshin da nyingba shara meba jik tong degi yo na mutu ne yo ba jik di gyun jang tu edu medu jik ta gu gu yore di dun de yang korolo kyo che lam ne kim dang chongpa tsangma yung ne re lan do gore sebi ge che ke ma re rabdo chung na yan degi yore sozo kim na la tena yan degi yore chue namda jik rutu ba jik gu yoro wa chue namda rupu gu la inji mini ne recho la rim gu be kyab sana dene ma re inji mini rabdo chung gu be kyab lam la dene ya ma re sozo ji ten kang ngi ba daga rang ne chue rupu gu yore di bezun ya bo yung gu do me do sozo sa chi kyo sa sambata yo na gawa ko mu tu ne kyun jaya che me na yo tab tangro na shu gu yin na so.
Previously, we discussed about the conditions people, um, where the sentient beings are born in other realms among the six realms, and due to the sufferings in those realms, that they are not able to practice properly, they're not able to focus on dharma. Meanwhile, even if we are born as a human, we may suffer. Actually, we would suffer in a different ways. Just look at the examples. Just look at people around yourself. Even if they are born as a human being, perhaps their faculties are incomplete. Maybe their limbs are not complete, and hence they are not able to practice. Likewise, there are some people who have so much suffering in their family, in themselves, due to several causes. They are not they are not able to practice in dharma. Likewise, even if they are born as a human being, it may be so that they haven't come across the teachings of the dharma. So when they have not come across, then also they are unable to go on the path. Likewise, maybe they have come across teachings of Buddha, of the Dharma, but they do not have faith, or they do not have genuine faith in the teachings. Even then, we may listen to the teachings, maybe we have some faith on the teachings, but we don't have proper renunciation towards the samsara. And why is that? Because we don't know the nature of the samsara, the nature of the phenomena, the actual reality of the phenomena. So, upon listening to the teachings and contemplating on the teachings of the reality of the samsara, that is to say, impermanence, emptiness, and all of these other essence and qualities, even then, if we do not give rise to renunciation, if we do not feel sad that we are born in this samsara and we keep on being reborn in this samsara, if we are not to follow the path, follow the actual reality of the phenomena, then it is us who have to remember that we will be reborn in this realm or in other realms, and we will still suffer. We would still suffer. So look at ourselves, look at the others. Look at the others if knowing these qualities, that if you do not have faith, if you do not have proper renunciation, we are not able to go on the path. But with these pointers, with these qualities, we should not make it so that we use these points to judge others, to judge how others are practicing dharma, if they have genuine faith, if they have proper renunciation. No, that is not why we know these points. We have been taught all of these points about the faith in dharma, about the proper practices. We are taught so that we can practice genuinely. It is not for us to have judgment on others. So listen to these teachings, really genuinely contemplate on them, and so that you can give rise to proper renunciation, knowing that the samsara is impermanent and knowing that there is suffering everywhere, and only way to get out of this suffering is by giving rise to the renunciation, and is by knowing and understanding the reality of the samsara. So basically, not having faith in dharma would be one of the not having faith in dharma would be one of the barriers to practice properly.
라소 닌데젤라 네 대바 중심에 송거래 다 건조 숨제 연대 퇴바당 윤년 통화당 된대 중앙에 나야한테 대바 메시지에 매바라고 그러와 그다음에 가셔야 되는 연구열에 신 이제 분송 소반된 저 통화라 메시지 간낭다 전환되는 매바 내가 제조 열랑당 대바 메시지 되는 연구열에 다 된대 중앙에 나야 아니 전날마지 줄에 제투비서인데 갈래가고 찾아와래 더 주요 날마저 주보고는 건조숨지 연된 통화나 퇴바 중앙이나 대바 제국으로 와 산제 니 되는 연된 통화 대바 최니 연된 통화 대바 견든 연된 통화 대바 제국이래 되네라 대바면 아니 이제 거라 매바 찾아라 대바 이제면은 저 루스인데 영양 거라 매바로 와 근데 된대 소소 차도 잠문이야 삼로다이래 소소 대강라 로테유나 오다 드미도 네 아니 남 노르데샤 네 줄라네 대바 거라면도 대바데 타르베 사본르데유레 타르베 자와르 히도디 대바 차데유레 된데 대히 자와 거랑알라 매바이나 타르베람가 카네진 토고 그래 토베제니 나가서 그래 남가니 강만나는 주의지 님이 거라 매바 차서도 다 데드미소 드미도 tengo 그래 소소는 대바 약보유나 대바데 무진의 균장야다 ane teba de yang yang yarje chero juro da ya ane teba yarje chero dan gong de teba samba komba twasam komzo ya bo chen ani chojin nega da tön tön zo ani yaga she yung gu yure gazo yaga she ba ane teze den teba je yung gu wa benna nga zo ser pu da bo do da men do kan ha go re ane ser so gen ji mi dam da jan ha go ro ane ko ji ser di tung ane me da ja ane che dene chen do ane ser pu da bo yin ba ha go do ro wa 최 남다 인 민데네 간데 하고는 되바다 삼바 고마숨지 제네 냠는 제들라 다제당 되네 하고도 그래 되네진에 대바진 되베네 답제당 고고요래 되네 소소요나 가오고 야르제당 매나 네 가서 여답소 고고요래 어 되네 양 교삼보다는 나슈기
Now, continuing the explanation, to have no faith at all, either in the true Dharma or in the teacher, shuts off any access to the teachings and bars entry to the path of liberation. As explained before, yes, people may be born as a human being, but they have several complications, several sufferings, due to which they are unable to practice dharma. Likewise, even if they don't have suffering, they have no determination whatsoever to liberate themselves from the samsara, and they hence find no reason to engage in dharma practice. And at that time, we are asked to contemplate on the impermanence and the preciousness of the human birth as well. Now, to the next point, to have no faith at all. So, say a person is okay, they have everything covered, they have all the faculties okay, they don't suffer that much conventionally, and they have listened to the teachings, they have met a teacher. So, even then, even after meeting a teacher, even after hearing the teachings of Dharma, if they shut off anything, any one of them, or all of them, they don't listen to the teachings, they don't have faith in the teachings, then it becomes really difficult for them to access the teachings. And when you have no faith, even if you see someone else doing good deed, you don't feel really happy, you cannot rejoice. Instead, what we end up doing is we become angry. We think they are wasting their time instead of doing some interesting thing in the world. So those kind of thoughts may come about in our mind stream. Likewise, not having faith in Dharma or the teacher, it also bars the entry of the path of liberation, because in order to embark on this path, we need to have faith. That is the most important thing. We have to have faith in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And upon listening to the teachings, upon contemplating on them, then only we embark on the path. So, when we don't have faith on anything at all, we are unable to rejoice, we are unable to be happy, even seeing others get involved in the activities, and we are not able to bring ourselves to practice or just engage in a good deed as well. So, at this point, we have to be very careful, we have to be very mindful, looking at ourselves, looking at our thought. Check yourself if you are just pretending to know the Dharma, if you are just pretending to have faith in the teachers, in the Dharma, and if you are actually following or the path or pretending as if you are. Check if you have proper renunciation towards the samsara. Check if you really contemplate on the meaning of impermanence. So we have to be very careful, because to have no faith at all in the three jewels, we really shut off our access to any teachings, and we bar our entry to the path of liberation.
So, ni de jala, ni mege tikchu sungir, mege wa tekbala, ajang sabchumbu chogen, 중세 지대에 소소제부 인도 메가와 람미조가 상인데 아니 뉴뉴레데 하장 삽shum부 메가와 주 인존라티네 벳쿠란 나메다네 레준레데 세송 춘네메 아니 전주 소제다 아니 준 하장 정부샤다 남편조 조신자다 어 데네라서 바 메가와 주든존라데 데네 야메코라다 아니 rāngdōng yīchē jī lō mā tōg bā, xiān dēn zō lō pēn bī lō sē mū gēn dē, kēchī kyūla kyūne mī jē gēn. Wā tēn rē chē nā tēne kāra sā gō rē, xiān lā nū bē lē dāng mē kē wā chū tō ā jāng tā kāra sā gō rē, xūk chūmbu chē wā yī na, tēne yāng thār bā yāng tā bō rūp tū gō yō mā rō wā, sō sō dē kāng lō rō tū rō mē dō yāng tā gō gō yō rē. Sō sō kā yīn sā na, māngbō chē tōng bā nī jī tuān dē, tū tē sā gō gō rō jī chē, 디디 삼로 당근 로지 때 송고송으로 지윤도 레준들 마 남메셔 주고 요래 아니 레준데 남메셔인데 되네 미게와 쇼좀부 쇼지 사네 아니 코로나 년송도 longi 랭엔데야 모든데 사고로군 되네 쇼좀부 쇼 용거 요래 쇼지 돈 다보름 버지지 가려송 그래서도 최신도 맞잖아 쇼지랑 년송도 주 규제해서 최하고나 냠는 따다 제시한 거고 요래 가서 레준데다 메게워 주방에다 개워준 주변에서 근데도 양코나 내좀 휴지 요래 네 텐들지 내들다다 때네 안타르바 담지기 뭐고 도베 요래 디 메바자 양 동네 도종된 아니 렌젤의 제수도 당 메게워 장마 전류 주는도 전류도 휴중부 제소나 양 아니 냥아 좀 휴잖네 rāyāji gyūchāga yore. Tā sōsō dendē kāngla rōgdō rōgō mīndō. Yā lē gyūntē sēngā jīla yīchē kōrā mēnē mīgīwa kāngla chōgō dōgā. Yīchē yō na yāng tōnyi kī tuan tōsōng kō tsō chē, tōnyi lā mā xiān, nāngshā dēn sō dāng lēn gyūntē lā yāng kāsā kōrā kē sō rōgō chē, nāngmē shōr rōgō dōgā. Dēnē yōngdō mīndō sōsō lā tā chē dāng. Yōngō mīndō na kāwā kō mī yōng bē tāp chē. Yōngō dōng na tā dī pāngwē tāp chē dāng, wā tā ngē rīg mīndō ngē nōr chā. lam yang da bolo zui min du tende lam jodan tende mare ani ka sa gore mi je sonam che so da mi me shi so so ni ka danyam chen ro go re chi le xian so na ani xian ba ra re lam nor do gu du ta ne de ma so tende ne yang so so tende be zon che go re an tende chu sam do da ro na shu yi.
Having no faith at all, of course, blocks the access to teachings and also bars the entry to the path of liberation. But even if you have faith in the three jewels, it is still not enough. The one of the other factors that leave no freedom to practice dharma refers to the people who take pleasure in harmful or negative actions and who fail to control their thoughts, work, and deeds. They are devoid of any noble qualities and they have turned away from dharma. So, what happened to these people, or what happened to us if we take pleasure in harmful or negative actions? As we have learned in previous Dharma teachings as well, as a Dharma practitioner who have embarked on a path, we have faith in the three jewel. But aside from that, most important point that we have to remember is abandoning harmful deeds or non-virtuous deeds, and engaging in virtuous deeds. So these are really important points because the more we engage in harmful action now, the more we have to suffer in the future eventually. And the more we engage in positive action, in virtuous action, the brighter or the better the future becomes. We don't have to suffer a lot and we can embark on the path. So we have to contemplate if we are actually taking pleasure in harmful or negative actions. And if we are able to control our thoughts, words, and deeds. And here, by controlling, we don't refer to thinking just one thing, thinking everything is good, everything is going okay, that that we are unaware if we are pretending or if we are actually practicing. So we have to be very careful here as a Dharma practitioner or as a beginner. We have to really contemplate our own thoughts, our activities. Are we just pretending to have lip service? That is to say, are we just uttering words of dharma, uttering that I do good, I take refuge in that ritual, I have faith, I practice, but on the side, we are causing conflict in the society. We are not thinking well. We are causing ill will. We are doing idle chatters, or we are engaged in an extremely harmful deed, like harming other beings. So, once again, please remind ourselves that people who take pleasure in harmful or negative action and who fail to control their thoughts, their words, and their deeds. So, body, speech, and mind, every activities, they are devoid of noble qualities and they are unable to engage in dharma. So, when we contemplate ourselves, when we contemplate our thoughts, our action, our words, we see if we are engaged in virtuous or non virtuous activities. If we find ourselves engaging in non virtuous activities, we have to remind ourselves that this is not the way to go. We have to um, remind ourselves to refrain from doing non virtuous activities and instead engage in virtuous activities. Likewise, when we are watching our thoughts, words, and deeds, when we discover that we are actually engaged in good deeds, we are doing virtuous activities, then we have to pat our back. We have to tell ourselves that, yes, this is good. We have to continue engaging in virtuous deeds. So, like this, we have to, in order to continue practicing Dharma and practicing properly the preliminaries, we have to contemplate our thoughts, our words, and our deeds.
나서 단대절라 최라 셈바 탈와 세기요레 최선 메바 세기요로와 최선 메바 세디 미망보지기다 최세디즈나 개보 겸보찬네 아니 제드레스 노다 아니 최세디즈나 아니 미셰바 몽바 아니 몽데 된조지 제레스 노다 어 테네 라서 뭐 삼로 몽보 단네 최라니 로커라 미코르와 테네 몽보지 용유레 아니 테네 소소 줄에 제도 제금도 테네 제소나 양 타르바다 담지지면 고방 토벨라 타른도 도구유레 양 미고민네라 홍도구유레 다 최세데 셈 둘위지 냠보 뇽몽보 빵위지 냠보지 예바 Ni rangshen tarpa dang tamche jimbe gobang la choche je ni lam tenre je ni ba ha goba ina ni chola yang chowa dang gawa je yungu yore. Tenre je ni chola sam kogdo kogu mendo. Tenre je chola sam soso lo do mendo ta mena yotab je. Yona soso soso yang gawa gom. Tenre samlo dang yore. Tiang kyos samlo dang ro nang.
One of our teachers, great masters in the past, has once said that after listening to the Dharma, contemplating on the thoughts and the practices of Dharma and doing them, applying them to your day to day life, they have mentioned even after knowing about the Dharma, if you practice improperly, if you do not practice properly, Dharma becomes obstacle to attaining liberation. Having said that, another point that causes no freedom to practice in Dharma is those kind of beings, those people who have no more interest in spiritual Dharma, spiritual values, and Dharma, since they feel no enthusiasm for the Dharma, since they have no interest in Dharma, the qualities of Dharma will never develop in their minds. So, we may have also seen some people who have studied a lot about Dharma, who have contemplated constantly about the philosophical systems, about various spiritual values, but they are so busy thinking about the Dharma teachings, they are so engaged, and they have burnt out. They have completely burnt out, and they end up having no interest whatsoever in the spiritual values, in the Dharma talks, in the Dharma teachings. And again, this happens when we have not contemplated the Dharma properly, when we do not contemplate on the very basic teachings like impermanence, emptiness, and hence we do not understand the reality of the phenomena. So, when we don't do so, when we do not contemplate properly, and when are not familiar with the reality of the phenomena, we end up losing interest in the spiritual value. We end up losing interest in Dharma. Hence, we do not feel happy. We do not rejoice to engage in virtuous deeds ourselves, or we have no care about what others are doing when they are engaging in Dharma. And being such a person, having such a thought come to our mind, we only bring us far away from our aim, that is to become awakened. So, again, repeating, some people are no more interested in spiritual values and Dharma, and having no enthusiasm for Dharma, the qualities of it, of the Dharma, will never develop in their minds, and they are unable to practice the Dharma. So, even in this way, they lose freedom to practice Dharma, even if they are born as a human, even if they have precious human body and other freedoms. So, at this point, again, we have a task. Contemplate if we are actually interested in Dharma, or are we just performing lip service, if we are just merely reciting the lines of the Dharma but not really practicing them. Analyze if we have good thoughts or bad thoughts, if we have dharmic thoughts but we don't really engage in them in real life. Or are we just repeating words of Dharma and not really letting it soak, or not really, um, or actually reading the lines of Dharma, chanting the lines of Dharma, but actually we're losing interest in them. So now please take some time to contemplate uh, if the interest, the enthusiasm to practice Dharma, to learn Dharma is still inside you.
so tene de chala ane tomba nyamba sungu yore ane tomba nyamba ina yang negab jero na mikomba chandungruwa te nazo chapro tomba shu yore semje tomba shu yore an daga na jendo kenye ke solo kelong la soba tomba shu yung yore tenzo ma nyamba ina yang chwe takda jendru tuk marwa an chapro tomba shu sawa jela kunjo sum la ane sejo meba sanje yu kusong su den den zo la ane 마 nangme tangke lekbom songrab den zo la ane kasagora tepa dang kuipa meba ane tene kasagora chur drupa po kendun den zo la ya ane kuipa dang tsikur meba la soba che na ta chabri la ma nyam ku yore ane semjel di ane semjel lo ya dang pa dang ane rang ni ji chebi kewa den zo yang ne yang de semjel ngwa mi che pa dang ane daga nang shen do jamda nyingche den zo yang de yang je samba mi dang wa tene chino tene ya semji yido ma nyam rugu yore ane wata tene daga na chindo ane kesu long la so ba kenyen so 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 je tene songja de so ma song na ya nyam rugu yore wa tene kano rugu du rugu mi tene so so ta rugu yore na wata lam no rugu du nga ring ma song chen ane ta lam yang da ba yon la ane tabshe dang tene kano la shorgi me na ane me tene yang kyun kya la ane bezon chaya da soso soso lang gawa kumbya da an kewa da yanja yanja ngowa chaya wa dine nang kuku yore an dine chuk samda daro na.
Now, the next point is about going further away from practicing dharma because we break the vow and commitment. So, here, anyone who, having entered the basic vehicle, breaks his vows and commitment to bodhicitta has nowhere else to go but the lower realms. He will not escape from states where there is no opportunity to practice the dharma. So, in the basic level, we start with taking refuge in the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, and next we commit to bodhicitta. So, how can we break the vows? What are the possibilities that can cause us to break the vows intentionally or unintentionally? Even after entering the basic vehicle, if we start losing faith in Buddha, if we start not respecting even the representation of the Buddha, let's say the statues of the Buddha and the representations. Likewise, the Dharma, if we start losing interest in Dharma, if we start disrespecting and not really having faith in Dharma and the Dharma teachings, which are the precious words of the Buddha, the precious teachings of the Buddha, then we can break the vow. Likewise, the Sangha, who are the practitioners, they uphold the teachings of Buddha. This Sangha can be upasaka, upasikas. Likewise, step by step, they can have more vows to keep. So we as ordinary practitioner, if we lose respect, if we don't have faith and devotion towards the Buddha, if we do not respect the Dharma, likewise, if we disregard the Sangha who are the practitioners of the Buddha Dharma, we can break our vow, the vow of having taken refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Likewise, this even applies to those who have taken other vows, like the Gelong Mas, the Gechul Mas, likewise the Gelong, the male and female, whoever has received several vows in this path. If they do not uphold their vows, if they break the vows, then also this can lead for them to lower realms or find themselves in the times and places where they are unable to practice dharma and hence not able to embark on the path. Likewise, how can we break our commitment to bodhicitta? What can be some other causes that lead us to breaking bodhicitta? As given rise to bodhicitta, or having received the bodhisattva vow, we have vowed to embark on the path to gain enlightenment for the sake of each and every sentient beings. So we are not talking about just one, we are not talking about our family, but each and every sentient beings. So due to whatever reason, whenever we see other beings are suffering, instead of giving rise to compassion, if we disregard them, if even by seeing their suffering, nothing stirs in your mind, you do not feel remorse, or you cannot feel compassion towards the beings. That can be one of the scenes where you can see we have broken our bodhisattva vow, that we are not committed to bodhicitta. And whoever breaks these vows, no matter which level of practice they are at, or whenever we break our commitment to bodhicitta, we have nowhere else to go but the lower realm. And when we go to the lower realm, we will not escape from the states where there is no opportunity to practice the dharma. So, this is another way, or another type of situation we can find ourselves in, due to which we don't have freedom to practice dharma. So, having known that breaking the vow and breaking the commitment to bodhicitta can lead us to such a situation, now it is our task to analyze if we are keeping our vows of refuse, vows of bodhicitta, or the bodhisattva vow. We have to watch our mind if we are merely uttering the words of compassion, or do we actually are practicing to give rise to compassion, give rise to loving and kindness. Do we feel happy to practice the dharma? Are we rejoicing in what others are engaging in, especially the virtuous activities? So, even if these words may seem very simple, breaking the vows and commitment to bodhicitta, but it can really cause to lag your journey. It can all really cause you to not be able to embark on the path. So analyze yourself, analyze every step, analyze um, your activity of your body, your speech and mind, and see if you are really keeping the vows properly, if you are able to uphold the commitment to bodhicitta, and if you are able to continue, then continue to give rise to bodhicitta and uphold the vows.
라서 다 데랭 아주 대 삼조 제네 아니 교사원디 라데네 아니 삼제 담제 도베 장주 도버쇼 냠베 돈네 아니 몰람데서 잡제도 소로낭.
So today we pause here among the eight incompatible situations that leave no freedom to practice the Dharma. And now, at the end of the session, again, remember all the sentient beings, remember our goal to practice the Dharma for sake of all sentient beings, and let's dedicate the merit.
Jiyan Rolba Jembu Gilguru Tejian Sanga Jebe Gewa Tuzum Zabe Gezo Kundum Lame Jangju Nyingburu Ngowara Inji Sonam Deye Daye Juwa Jena Zawi Parje Guijish Remni Lamje Juba Darjin Pema Jalbe Ngoban Do Barajo Sanju Lame Jelam Ninglash Yedam Ganjo Ludan Jibji Chöjo Zombe Barje Gonzal Chodun Ngojo Jube Dajijo Oma Bajracharya Bema Sede Om Biji De Lejembe Yejene Vasanyu Ome Gaye Dame Sonju Wa Beju Darangona Ranjin Jo Bejin Jo Bema Juni Ngon Zum Jase Dele Long Nyam Nang Kong Benjamin Ganjim Remba Zembe Bawo Jagim Chuse Lo Den Doje Longaranjur Dewe De Me Kombo Daye Nije Dere Chana Be Mondang Kozum Gonde Jeme Do Jenza Kandol Jo Be Zenjo Jelazo Zendango Ye Namro Dale Be Juju Ja Wajebe Duzandr Taje Ga Nyam Ye Jazung Tsede ma do jewrajo de yare zenam je zelam la de ne go da ish en jazo so je la men go ba nyurdon raje de ni lunje jo de meje da yerme be manjo rananda bezando barej nare yerme manjo nyume de ne nam da jendo je warajo Gangdo Jewe Jewa Damji Dore Yunden Dunden Dobra Tema Dado Jedan Jejurune Zuljen Jube Rawan Yubra Chodu Nene Nyembu Dundrumde Sidre Sebe Jazo Galwara Seba Dambe Charam Dunjeje Shemben Jubla Gyungal Mebra Labje Jindun Jure Mebai Tamje Jamje Zanje Do Barajo Lazo Tamje Kozo Do Janang Tamje La Toje Cheshugi Dundaja Jayong.
I would like to thank everyone for participating in the session and see you all next week.